Alright, so today we're going to learn about vertical angles, adjacent angles, complementary, and supplementary angles. What we do today, we're also going to be doing tomorrow. Okay, so this will be in addition to change in dimension on your quiz on Friday. Friday before school, there are tutorials. Alright, so an angle is formed by a combination of two rays and a vertex. As you see here, they are classified into 4 categories. You should be familiar with each of these categories. We have a right angle of 90 degrees, and an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. And a straight angle is exactly 180 degrees, and that is very important to know. All right, our first vocabulary word is vertical angles. They are formed when 2 lines cross. They have congruent angle measures. What's congruent mean? They are equal. All vertical angles are equal angle measures, meaning the same, and they lie across from one another. In the figure to the right, there are 2 pairs of vertical angles. And which ones are they? Good. So we have, so the way this angle is congruent to that angle. Notice how they are vertical and they lie across from each other. So we label this as AEC. Angle AEC is equal to angle BET. Excuse me. My teacher. All right. Another pair of vertical angles. Angle AEB is congruent to angle CED. So those are vertical angles. They're opposite from each other. They lie across from each other and they are congruent, which means they're equal. Okay? Eventually we're going to be setting up equations, and so that's important information to know there. All right. Our next vocabulary, 2 angles that are next to one another are adjacent angles. So your next door neighbor, anyone that's right next to you, they are adjacent. Okay? An adjacent pair of angles share a side, share a vertex, and never overlap. The pairs of adjacent angles and to the right are, and there are many, there are a lot. Okay, this angle is adjacent to this angle and that angle. Okay, so we can label those. So we have angle AEB, angle AEC, and angle CDCED. Okay. Also, I changed colors here. This angle is also congruent. Sorry, it's also adjacent. It's right next to this angle and this angle. Are we good with adjacent? It's like your shoulder part. It's an angle next to another angle. And if you notice, these adjacent angles add up to 180 degrees. So this angle and this angle all lie on that line. Do you see that? That's a straight angle, which equals 180 degrees. All right, let's look at some practice here. We're going to find each missing angle measure using your knowledge of vertical angles. What do we know about vertical angles? They are congruent. Good job. All right, so let's look at angle FBG. So here is F, VG. This angle right here, okay? What do we know about vertical angles? They're congruent. So what angle is vertical? That's right. What's the angle measure?
60 degrees.
Good. So angle FEG is also 60 degrees. All right, let's do the next one together. Angle ABH. So ABH. What angle is vertical of ABH? What's that measure? Good. CBF. What is the vertical angle measure? 120. Since they're vertical, they are congruent. Good. All right, so with your table, I want you to try this one, and then we'll check. Angle BHI. Let's go ahead and highlight that. You're more than welcome to have highlighters out. BHI. Its vertical angle measure is
180 degrees.
good. And that means they are congruent angles. Let's highlight angle IHJ. IHG. Its vertical angle is here. Its vertical angle measure is 30 degrees. Vertical angles are congruent. You got it. Let's move on down. Using our knowledge, still vertical angles. So now we're going to be setting up equations. So it's very important that you know angle relationships, meaning vertical angles are congruent. That's going to help you set up your equation to solve. All right, so we're going to determine the value for x and y using vertical angles. So let's start and try to solve for the value of x. I see x here, so that is this angle. What angle is vertical? 145. Good. So vertical angles are what?
Congruent.
They're congruent. So we're going to set them equal to each other. So 2x plus 23 equals 145. Because we already know that this angle measure is 145 degrees. So now we can solve for x. Okay, and this is just solving equations. So we can subtract 23 from both sides. That gives us a 0 pair. That leaves us with 2x equals 122. The inverse operation is to divide by 2. That leaves us with 1x equals 61. Good. So with your table, I want you to solve for the value of y, and then we'll check. All right, so to solve for the value of y, this angle, its vertical angle is 35 degrees. Vertical angles are congruent. So we set them equal to each other because they're congruent. And to solve for y, we're going to add 5 to both sides. You get y equals 8. 5. There we go.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Let's look at this example down here. It says determine the values for x, y, and each of the missing angle measures that we see here. Okay, to solve for x, I'm going to use solving adjacent angles. Okay, so let's find right here 5x plus 10. For us to solve for x, which angle is adjacent? Remember adjacent angles? Okay, they're going to be on a straight angle. Okay, so if we can kind of extend this, what angle is adjacent that we could use? The 40 degrees. Good. So this angle plus that angle equals what? Straight angle equals
180.
good, 180 degrees. So let's set that equation up. We should have 5x plus 10 plus 40, which is the adjacent angle, equals 180 degrees. And we can combine 10 140, which is 50, right? And then we can subtract 50 on both sides. So that creates a 0 here, so we're left with 5x equals 130. Divide by 5, and you get 26x equals 26. So we're good with that? Okay, so with your table, using adjacent angles, I want you to solve for y. Okay, so to solve for angle y using adjacent angles, angle y is here, and again, adjacent angles, notice that it lies on a straight angle. So this angle and that angle add up and equal, straight angle equals 180 degrees. Good. So let's set that equation up. 3y minus 1. What's the measure of this angle? 145 because of its vertical angle. That's how we know that. Okay? So they equal 180. It's a positive 145. So we're going to add. So that leaves us with 3y, 45 minus 1 is 144. And we're going to subtract 144 on both sides. So that leaves us with 36 on this side and 3y divided by 3. And y equals 12. Questions? We're good? All right. Let's continue with 2 more vocabulary words, complementary and supplementary angles. Go ahead and turn to the next page. More angle relationships to know, so we can set up equations to solve for the missing angle measure and the value. All right, so complementary angles and supplementary angles, let's first fill in their definitions. Complementary angles is a pair of angles with a sum of 90 degrees. Okay, the angles can be separate angles from each other, and then just add up to a sum of 90 degrees. They can also be next to each other. Okay, supplementary angles, any pair of angles, separate or together, have a sum of 180 degrees. Okay, and some students remember that complementary is 90 degrees. By drawing a C for complementary, it makes a 90. And then for supplementary starts with an S. What do you think?
Simple. Straight.
Yeah. Okay, so do what works for you to help you remember those relationships there. All right, so here's some steps to find both complementary and supplementary angles. They're pretty much the same steps. You're going to create equation. That equals 90 degrees. And then the next step, you're going to solve, okay? Supplementary angles, very similar. When you create your equation needs to equal what? Good, 180 degrees. degrees. And then once you set up your equation that equals 180 degrees, you can then solve for the variable. So we have two examples here. Let's first look at the top one, the example of finding missing measure with complementary angles. Okay? What angle, so complementary is what? 90 degrees. Notice this is a right angle. Okay, so when we add them up, they're going to equal 90 degrees. So our first step is to create an equation. So we have 3x plus 3x plus 12 equals 90 degrees. Okay, so then we can combine our like terms. 3x plus 3x, good. 6x plus 12 equals 90. Subtract 12 from both sides, which gives us, divide by 6, and we're left with x equals, so do I get 13? Okay, but it says we need to find the missing measure with complementary angles. How do we find the measure of each angle? Because 13, it's not 13 degrees. That's just what x equals. What can we then do? How can we find what angle measure this is if we know what x is? Absolutely. 3, substitute in our 13 for x. 13 times 3 is? This is 39 degrees. Okay? How can we find this angle measure? Substitute in our x value, which is 13. So this gives us 39 plus 12 is 51 degrees. Is that right?
Yeah.
So if we add 51 and 39, we should get 90 degrees. Okay? That's a good check. All right, let's look at our example of supplementary angles. It's any two pair of angles that add up to equal what?
180.
Good. And what do you notice here? They both lie on a straight angle. Okay, so our first step is to create our equation, which is 6x plus 4x minus 10 equals 180. And then we're going to combine our like terms, which is 10x minus 10 equals 180. Add 10 to both sides. We're left with 10x equals 190. Good. And then we're going to divide 10 on both sides. That leaves us with x equals 19. Okay? What can I do to find each angle measure? What can I do? Good. Substitute our x value, which is 19. 6 times 19 is? Say that again? 114. Good. 114 degrees. Okay, and for this angle, 4 times 19 minus 10, 66 degrees. To check, 66 plus 114 should give me 180.
Minus 10.
0, 1.
Good. All right. All right. Go ahead and get your device. We're going to do a Kahoot. It's going to cover vertical, adjacent, complementary, and supplementary angles. All right. So, with your tape, we'll go ahead and complete the maze, and then we will check. So if you just want to pause the video so you can work on it and you can check your answer. Here's the path you would take to get to the end. And your practice is a worksheet. and then we'll check it tomorrow.